Broncos country, a Mahai salute, man. What is poppin'? It's your boy Mark here, Marky Sports. We are going to get into the Broncos defensive line group. We're going to talk about the starters. We're going to talk about the depth. We're going to rate the room as a whole. And we're going to talk about why this particular positional group is one of the most important, one of the deepest, and ultimately one of the biggest reasons why I think the Broncos are going to be unbelievably successful in 2025. They truly do set the tone for this team. And with a defense that has aspirations to be the best defense in the entire NFL, it is going to start with the guys up front. And so let's break it down, man. Without further ado, like and subscribe if you're not already, and let's get it popping. So the starters, we already know who they are, right? Typically, you run a 3-4. Vance Joseph will kind of switch things up. Sometimes he has 4 down linemen. Sometimes he runs a 3-5-5. You never know what he's going to do with him, or 3-3-5. But he mixes it all up. He does a whole bunch of different things. But when you're talking about the base defense, your starters are Zach Allen, DJ Jones, John Franklin Myers, a very solid, stout group. DJ Jones obviously got a nice contract this last offseason, which ended up being what I felt like was a really big steal, right? I was somebody that thought we could certainly upgrade and move on from DJ Jones. Even though he was a solid player, I felt like there were some better options. But man, for the price that we got him at versus what the other guys in free agency went for was massive. So super happy to have him back. Someone that is just really solid. He's never going to blow up the stat sheets, right? He only had 1 sack last year. That's because he's typically clogging up the holes, being a menace in the run game, taking on the double teams, and making the life of Zach Allen and John Franklin Myers just that much easier. But what is really, solid about DJ Jones and what I like about him is like he gets his hand up, like he disrupts the game in a lot of other ways. He had a lot of bad passes. If I could remember last year, he's somebody that was really good at that. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Shelby Harris, but just a menace when it comes to stopping the run and clogging up the middle. Covered up a lot of the flaws that we had on the back end in terms of the linebacker position, which I obviously feel like we've addressed this offseason. But yeah, just really happy to have DJ Jones back. And he's one of the leaders, one of the most well-liked guys in the locker room. And we know how important that is to this team and to Sean Payton and George Payton as a whole. Let's get to Zach Allen, man. Zach Allen is probably one of the most disrespected defensive linemen in the entire NFL, just in terms of PFF or the national media. But make no mistake about it, Zach Allen is elite in every single way. He is an unbelievably phenomenal player. He's gotten better every single year in his league under Vance Joseph as his defensive coordinator. And someone, man, that is just so fun to watch. He played like 900 and something snaps last year. Doesn't get off the field. Play number 1 looks like play number 60. His motor is unbelievable. And he's just so damn disruptive in the pass game. And he's so stout and good in the run game as well, right? I mean, finished last year with 8.5 sacks. But one of the things that really stands out to you with Zach Allen, like I said, is just his ability to create pressure. He's not always going to get to the quarterback. A lot of the times he will cause the quarterback to leave the pocket. And then, John Franklin Myers or any of the edge guys, the crazy amount of edge guys that we have will clean it up. But he led the entire NFL last year in quarterback pressures and in quarterback hits. So he makes his impact felt. Like he might not always get the sack, but defenses are going to key in on him. And what's really wonderful about that is that he makes the lives of the edge players that we have so much easier because he's able to take on double teams when needed. He's able to set the edge whenever needed. It allows for our edge players to be able to have a lot of one-on-one opportunities where they can just pin their hair back and go, So I love Zach Allen, man. I think he should absolutely be the biggest priority for this Broncos team and front office to get an extension, pay this man, give him whatever the hell he wants, and let's go, baby. I love that. John Franklin Myers on the other side, man. Another guy that's looking to get paid. Is he going to? We're going to see. I truly would love to keep this entire unit intact. I think they're a really good mix of just being really good players, still fairly young. I think all of them got a lot of really good football left in them. And they're just so well-rounded. They're so solid. There's really not a lot of weaknesses when you come to the starters. But John Franklin Myers, again, man, I mean, one of those players where he pressures the hell out of the quarterback. I mean, he had almost as many pressures in total as Zach Allen did last year, but with quite a bit less snaps. Obviously, nobody's going to play as many snaps as Zach Allen. But John Franklin Myers, 8 sacks, just very disruptive, very, like I said, very underrated. A part of our defense a big reason why our defense took a massive leap last year. And so I can understand why he might want another contract, right? This was one of the best trades that George Paton has ever put together. It was a draft day trade, obviously, last year. And man, has he been a breath of fresh air for us. So there's not a lot of talk. There's not a lot of optimism in Broncos country as a whole that John Franklin Myers is going to be someone that we extend and we sign. And I can understand it because you got Nick Bonito, right? You got Zach Allen, you got the Cortland Sutton situation, maybe Malcolm Roach. But I am a very big proponent of getting a deal done with him. I don't think it's going to be massively expensive. And like I said, I would like to see these three guys stay together. You have continuity on the offensive line. I think continuity on the defensive line is just as important. So let's get the deal done, man. Let's get the deal done. But overall, I rank him a B. Now, why do I rank him a B and not an A? Because the depth of this defensive line group still has some concerns, right? Like, I love me some Malcolm Roach. I think Malcolm Roach is unbelievably underrated. He's solid. He's, arguably one of the best run stuffing defensive linemen in the entire NFL. He's just super good against the run. Not going to be the most in the pass game, but he's just really solid. And what's nice about Malcolm Roach is that he can play all three positions on the D-line. If Zach Allen's injured, Malcolm Roach can play there. If DJ Jones goes down, Malcolm Roach fills right in. And obviously the same on the left side for John Franklin Myers. So his versatility is awesome. He's really a key depth player. But behind that, there's a lot of question marks. Quite a bit, depending on what it is that you're looking for too. But Savion Jones, without a doubt, our third-round pick this year, by far and away, has the highest ceiling and the most potential. Someone that I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to in training camp. A lot of really great reports coming the off season so far through OTAs and mandatory minicamp. They said he's looked really good. DJ Jones has talked him up. You watch him on tape when he was at LSU, just a menace, man. Plays with his hair on fire. He truly is a very disruptive player. But again, pretty raw. All right, the transition to the NFL is going to be interesting for him. He was someone that played edge, like he was a stand-up outside rush linebacker for the most part in college at 285 pounds. He's not going to be doing that a lot with the Broncos. He's going to have his hand in the dirt. So that might be a little bit of a transition. But if he can flash and show that he's going to be a hell of a player as a third-round pick this year, similar to how Jonah Ellis did last year, you better believe this is going to be an A, maybe even an A+ group overall, because really there's no weaknesses. Ioma Uwazurike, another guy here. I mean, a little bit of frustrations with Ioma, right? Obviously, but he was like a 6th-round pick, I believe, or 5th-round pick out of Iowa State several years ago. Played his rookie season, but not too much. Gets suspended for the entire second year for gambling. It was really stupid, but there's obviously something that Sean Payton likes about him because they gave him a second chance. He seemed to always have his back. Didn't even, bother him at all, surprisingly. And it seems like Sean and the coaching staff really like what they got in him as, still a developmental prospect, even though he's entering year number 4. He hasn't played a lot of football, but he's got a whole bunch of talent. I'll tell you that. I was going back and looking at my notes of him when he was coming out of Iowa State. He played all 4 positions on the defensive line, including like edge rusher, stand-up outside linebacker, rushing the passer. He played the 5 tech. He played the 3 tech. He played the 1 tech. He really did it all. And that is a very positive thing for a lot of coaches in the NFL, obviously. But in a way, it can really hamper the development of a player because you're not focusing on doing specific things very well. You're kind of trying to be overly well-rounded, which makes the transition to the league a little bit more difficult. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. With the addition of Savion Jones, he might be someone that could be on the chopping block. And then, same goes for the guy like Jordan Jackson, Matt Henningsen, right? Jordan Jackson did play, I think, a little bit last year after being a 6th-round pick in 2022 from the Saints. But the Saints ended up cutting him that offseason. He didn't make the team. and the Broncos snatched him up. He came to our practice squad, and he's kind of been there ever since. So, I mean, I don't know too much about him other than the fact that somebody that's a local kid that played down in Air Force. Um, he's flashed here and there, a little bit of an older prospect, but he's like I say, he's gonna be one of those depth guys, most likely a practice squad player, similar to Matt Henningsen. Matt Henningsen, we drafted him out of Wisconsin. Same kind of thing. He was overly solid, but really limited in terms of the potential. Made the team his first couple of years, and then he ends up being on the practice squad last year. That's probably the trajectory that he's going to be going for. So there's a pretty big fall off after Savion Jones. Lots of question marks. Savion Jones obviously still is a question mark, but he's a rookie, so you have a lot more optimism. But the other guys, it's going to be a little bit dicey. So we'll see how it ends up playing out. But that's kind of what I got, man. Do you feel like the Broncos should maybe consider adding a veteran player? It's a possibility. I don't think it's going to necessarily happen, and I certainly don't think it needs to. I think we've got enough depth and young guys. But listen, if camp goes on, and Savion Jones just seems like he might need a little bit more seasoning, and you have a veteran player that's cut on another team for cap relief purposes or whatever, not someone that's necessarily a starter, but played a lot in the league, very experienced, and you know what you're going to get with him, and you know that he's going to add tremendous depth to this defensive line group, I think you can consider it. But I don't think that's ultimately what's going to happen. I think these are going to be the guys that are competing and ultimately make the 53 or the practice squad when it comes to the Denver Broncos team. And let me know what you guys think below in the comments. Do you think we should potentially add somebody? And if so, what's the prototype? What kind of a player do you want to see them add heading into training camp, man? But love this room. This is the team this is the positional group that truly sets the tone for this team. So I'm excited to see what it is that they can put together. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful day, man. Spend time with those you love the most. Go Broncos, baby. And peace.